So I worked for the council for, I think, 1 year until there was the municipal elections. And the mayor, Chandler, who'd been the mayor for many, many years, was thrown out, and a man called Roberts. Chandler was leader of this civic municipal organisation.
CMO. The CMO.
Yeah, which was a predecessor of the Liberal Party. And the other fellow was a Labor fellow. And just previous to that, I'd been to see Frank Costello about getting different experience, because I made a practice of moving every 18 months to get different experience at different offices. And he said, well, it's quite a good idea. I'll keep an eye out for you, and I'll talk to Cook and Harrison. Anyway, in the meantime, the election was held, and the new mayor and the old town clerk, Slaughter, thought it would be a good idea to get rid of all these people who were obviously anti-Labor, which wasn't true. But they had a meeting of the 9 doomed men. There's the city architect, the city engineer, the city health surveyor, all the senior people, and the accountant. And it amounted to 9. And the story as I get it from Frank Costello is that Slaughter said it should be rounded off to 10. And quick as a flash, because he said, Peter Heathwood. And of course I was a junior draftsman. And a paper came out in the morning with letters about this high. 10 top council officials sacked, and it went down the list, and on the bottom was Peter Heathwood, junior draftsman. and every Liberal following architect in Brisbane thought, he must be a strong Liberal, he's been sacked for political reasons, and I got rung up offers of jobs everywhere. Anyway, Rob Gibson was at Theo Thorne's, and he rang me and said, you better come over here. So I got introduced to Theo Thorne and John Hitch and got the job. And I was very pleased that I did, because I learnt quite a lot from Don Winson and Rob, but particularly Don Winson, who influenced me eventually to do town planning, because he said it was important to do it to gain an understanding of where your buildings were in society, and that's why I started doing planning 10 years later. Oh no, it can't have been 10 years, because I finished a 3-year course in 1966 in planning, so I started in 63. Anyway.
And how long were you at Theo Thorne and John Hitch's office?
18 months. And then I went to what was then known as Job, Collins and Fulton. And I was particularly influenced by Aubrey Job, who would check your drawings, and he knew so much about building construction. He'd write on your drawings in red ink what you've done wrong, and this is how you should do it. Oh. And so he was a very good teacher, apart from being a lovely fellow. And eventually I was working for Jim Collin mostly, and Jim was also a very nice man, but I don't know what architecture school he went to, but it wasn't the same thinking as mine. And he asked me to do a carport with columns that sloped down like this, with graded size holes coming down, and I refused to do it. Anyway, he had a bit of an argument, and I wouldn't back down, because I thought it was just absolute Anyway, he called me in the next day, and I thought, well, this is the sack. And he said, you're getting on my nerves. And he said, I suppose I'm getting on yours. And he said, I think what you'd better do is go on leave. Take a fortnight's leave. And it just happened that Mum and Dad were holidaying at Southport at the time, so I had a fortnight down there. Came back, and I never worked for Jim again. I always worked for Charlie. And that suited me because, and Jim never seemed to ever hold all that against me at all. We were always on good terms at a personal level.